Hey guys, it's Kirsten. So I can already tell this video is gonna be like a little disorganized. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna film it or what I was gonna say. I wasn't totally sure how to address it. Um, because it's something that I knew I wanted to talk about on this channel eventually at some point, and I didn't know when there would be a good time to talk about it or like what I even wanted to really say. Because it's something that like I'm still working my way through, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell from the title of the video already, but I wanted to talk a little bit about my own experience living with depression and anxiety, but mostly living with depression. And I wasn't totally sure if I should even be filming this video because where I am right now in my life, I am probably the most depressed I've ever been in my entire life, and pretty much no one knows that about me. It's not a secret that I have depression. I've talked about it on Instagram. I've talked about it on this channel. Like, I know it's something that people know about, but I feel like a lot of times when I talk about it in the sense that like something happened that day and I had like a bad day, or like I had a bad moment, but I'm like coping with it, and I'm working my way through like a specific event, and overall like I'm making progress with it. And I don't want to say that's not true, because I do feel like I make progress with it on certain days, but I don't think I've opened up to really anyone save maybe one or two people. I haven't really opened up about the fact that it's not just like small episodes here and there. It's not just days here and there. It's all the time, every single day, to some degree. At some point in the day, oh man, the lighting just changed. The sun just came out. Sorry for like, oof, that I'm so pale too. I might have to adjust the lighting on this. Okay, I think that's like, I think that's like a little bit better. Yeah, it's like super overcast today, but occasionally the sun will pop out. Anyways, yeah, it's like every single day, at some point, I will have feelings of depression or hopelessness or helplessness or just total disillusionment. It's something that has at one point was a thing I felt like I was starting to struggle with, and has now become something that is just so ingrained in my life. And I am at a point where I'm not totally sure what to do about it, because it's kind of snowballed to this place where it's actually truly affecting my ability to function. And the weirdest part about all of that is most people in my life don't know about it, or they don't know the full extent of it. And I talked about it a little bit on Instagram the other day. Some people might have seen that, but what a lot of people don't know is that I actually have high functioning depression, and I also have anxiety. So what that means for me is, despite having depression, I am still able to go about my daily life. I still complete tasks. I still put up a really, really good front. And what it is essentially meant for me is that, or how it feels to me, is that I've gotten really good at lying about how I feel all the time. And it's a really hard thing to cope with, because it's on the surface level. Like, I've been really open about having depression, so people know about it, but I don't feel like I've ever been really open about how deep it goes. And I've gotten to this point where I feel like I have like this disconnect with people, because I have all of these different, like, the way I was thinking about it is that I have all these different realities about myself, and they're all real, but they're all separate, and most people don't know about all of them. So I never feel like I'm being totally honest with just about anybody. And what I mean by that is, one reality of my life is like, I have a job. I have a good job. I go to it. I have good relationships with people at work. I have friends. I go out on social outings or go out to lunch with people like every week. I do the things I need to do. I try to eat relatively healthy when I can. I try to stay relatively active when I can. I go on vacations. I take care of my appearance. Like, overall, it seems like I am a pretty normally functioning, if not a little bit tired of an adult. But another reality that I have is that, on days when I'm not at work, sometimes I'm productive, or sometimes I'll sit down to work and end up just staring at a wall for hours, just not moving, like not able to do anything. There'll be days where I'll just eat junk food because I can't bring myself to cook or buy anything, or I just won't eat anything. Thing. I will let stuff pile up all over my room. I won't do my laundry until I don't have anything left to wear. And then when I finally wash all of it, it'll sit clean in a laundry basket until I wear all of it again. And for a long time, I was like, oh, that just means I'm lazy. And then I had to make myself realize that there is a distinction between that because I don't think lazy people care whether or not their life has gotten to that point. But for me, like, I see all of this stuff in my life that I'm not taking care of. Like, I feel like I'm not progressing in my career. I'm not cleaning my house. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not taking care of the things that need to get taken care of. And it makes me want to scream. Like, it stresses me out. It makes me feel sick. It makes me feel absolutely like I'm a failure of a person, and yet some part of me can't do it. And that's the most infuriating part about all of it, is that I hate everything that I do and I can't make myself stop doing it. It gives me anxiety. Like, I see the thing I need to do and it makes my stomach turn and it makes me sweat and it just makes me feel like I can't handle it, so let me put it off. And the longer you put something off, the bigger it feels until it doesn't feel like you can do it anymore. Like, I can't do basic tasks. I can't answer emails. I can't answer messages. I can't answer like comments. I can't reply to anything. And I don't know why, because it's from people that I care about. It's from my friends. It's from people who are supporting me. And yet I see them in there in my inbox or wherever, and I'm just like, I can't do this. And it's this crippling feeling all of the time. But because I've gotten so used to being able to play it off like I'm fine, people don't know that. And since they don't know that it's a real problem for me, it just looks like I am standoffish or I'm unresponsive or irresponsible or whatever. And that's really hard too, because then I start to question whether or not I have a real problem, or again, if I'm just a lazy, irresponsible person, and it kind of feeds on itself, and it's constant negative feelings. And it's really difficult for me because it makes it hard to feel like I'm progressing in my life, because how are you supposed to make progress in your career or work on your projects when on most days the most accomplished thing I did was get out of bed and take a shower? Like, that's a big deal for me. Like, getting up and like running errands is a big deal for me if I actually end up doing them. You know, like, how am I supposed to have relationships with people really when I don't feel like I can talk to people truthfully? Like, I have maybe 2 or 3 friends that I've ever opened up to about the reality of how I feel. And the rest of the time, I just don't. Like, I do like being social, even though it does tire me out because I'm pretty introverted. I like being around people, but when I'm having a bad day, I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't feel like I have anything positive to say, and I don't want to be that person in the group who only has stuff to complain about or who doesn't have anything to say at all. It makes me feel so isolated. It makes me feel like a burden to people. And so I don't want to talk to anybody. And it's really hard to trust people too, because when you feel so terrible about yourself all the time, like you're convinced that you're just a bad person, like you don't want to open up to people, because I have this constant underlying fear that they're going to realize the same things I realize about myself and not want to be around me anymore. And none of it's rational. I have friends, I have family, I have people who want to be there for me, but there is a huge mental block there where I don't trust that any of that is real, you know? And if it's hard enough like that to have friendships, like, I can't even imagine dealing with relationships, because I don't trust that people are going to stick around, or they're going to find out what I'm really like, and it's going to be too much for people. So I shut down when I start to get close to people, because I feel like I'm reliant on them, and it makes me feel like I'm a burden to them. Also, sorry if there's like background noise. I'm right by my window. There's a car right outside. Anyways, yeah, it makes it really hard to have healthy interactions with other people, because I feel like there's a huge disconnect. I either feel like a liar or a burden. I either don't share enough or I share too much, and I feel like I've had enough negative relationships in the past that it's kind of like felt like it's affirmed itself. So all of that there, like it's just this constant negative thing that makes me feel like I'm never going to get the things in life that I think I need or the thing that I want, you know, like I'm never going to progress in my career and I'm never going to go do all the things I want in life. I'm never going to have a healthy relationship with someone. It's a lot of stuff to deal with. And lately I've been so dissatisfied and unhappy that I've come to this point where I've realized that I'm at, like, something needs to change because I'm at a point where things are about to, like, something's going to give. And I don't know what, but I'm at a point where I'm like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And I know what that means for me is figuring out, like, I need to have, like, a set of, like, plans. Like, that's the type of person I am. Like, I need to figure out, like, what my steps are to take and do them and actually, like, work on it, which is really, really difficult because, I mean, I don't feel motivated to do anything, but I understand objectively that I need to change something. And I think the only reason I feel even capable of it right now, like, I have random moments of, like, feeling like maybe I can deal with stuff or moments of energy, which is why I'm even filming this right now, because I had a moment and I was like, I'm just going to do this now before I lose traction. But in the past, I've been able to make progress with certain things. Like, I used to have a therapist and she was amazing. I saw her for like 3 years and she helped me through so much stuff. And unfortunately, I had to change insurance and I got kicked out of my network and I can't see her anymore. And I haven't found anyone within my network that I feel comfortable seeing yet. So I don't talk to anyone about it. I mean, I'm not on any medication for any of it, but I do know that I'm capable of progressing. I just need to figure out what that means for me now. And I feel like while that's a huge struggle, that's a struggle that I objectively know I'll be able to take care of at some point. I don't know when, but I just know. I can't explain how, but I just know, like, that's something that I will cope with eventually. And I think I'm saying that just because, like, that's the type of person that I know I am. I cannot explain it, but I am. But my bigger struggle right now is being open with people about what's going on with me and actually being open about what I need from other people. Because I feel like the biggest struggle I've had, aside from being honest with people, is being honest about what I need. Because I've realized what I need right now is for it to be okay that I am not okay right now. Like, I'm absolutely not okay right now. But whenever I open up about my depression, even in the slightest sense, what that gets me is really well-meaning and supportive, but, like, ultimately unasked for advice. That's, I feel like, people's first response is to try to give advice to fix you. And that, you know, comes with telling you, like, you know, supporting you and telling you that it's okay to be where you are, which I totally know and I totally appreciate, or giving examples of resources and things like that, which, again, is helpful for some people. But where I am right now, I can't cope with that, because as someone who constantly feels like a burden to other people, the minute people jump in and feel like they need to fix me or they need to save me, I just feel worse. Like, I can't have someone coming in and trying to fix me for me, because it's just going to ultimately make me feel worse. And so I've realized my biggest struggle is knowing what I need from other people and being okay asking for that. Because, like, I know depression isn't something I can control. I know it's not my fault. I know it's not something I should be ashamed of. Like, I know all of that. Like, I know where to get help and resources. Like, I know what therapy is and I know what medication is. And I will work my way through that. But I need for people not to make me feel more broken than I already am. I need to not feel like someone's burden. I need to not feel like some kind of thing that people feel the need to fix. Because I just, with how I feel all the time, I am on opposite ends of a spectrum at one point or the other. I either completely dissociating and I can't, like, cope with anything or feel anything, or I'm on the other end where I feel everything so aggressively that it's, like, stifling. Like, and what I mean by that is when people try to be kind, it's overwhelming to me. Like, I can't cope with it. It's like, all I can think of is the negativity of it, which is, like, I'm a burden to other people. I'm a failure. I'm a sob story. Like, and I know that's not fair. And it's as irrational as everything else that's going on. You know what I mean? But I'm just so hypersensitive to things where, like, even if I have friends or people in my life that I really care about, if they start to act even a little bit differently, and get a little more distant or don't respond to something or start to act a little different, I'm just like, I screwed this up. I messed up. I'm a bad person. I push them away. I am like, I'm never going to find anyone. Like, I'm always going to just push people away in my life. And I end up ultimately pushing people away because of it. And so it becomes this really negative thing in my life. And I know that sounds really bad. And I honestly, I'm not entirely sure, like, I'm not entirely sure where this thought process is going. I honestly am filming this video in order to work through how I'm coping with stuff and how I'm feeling about things right now. But I think what I'm ultimately getting at here is, I think the most important thing is to understand what it is you need and be open about asking for that. And I think what I need is for people to understand that I am going through a really rough time right now, and I'll be okay. And I need people to be there in the sense that I just want to be treated normally. And if my normal is sometimes I need to be away from a social situation, or if I'm just like, I can't hold up a conversation or I can't respond to certain stuff, that doesn't, like, I need to know that it's okay that I'm doing that, because otherwise I just feel like I'm messing up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm being a bad person. And I think this feels really weird to say because it feels like I'm asking for like an overall like change of how people feel about, normal social norms. But I guess that's what I realize I need to ask of the people in my life. And so if you're someone who's struggling with like the same stuff, like the same feelings of depression or feeling like you're overwhelmed, I think it's really important to know what exactly it is that you feel like you need. Because I'm at this point in my life where I do have high functioning depression. So even though it is crippling, it is something that I feel like I know the steps to take to eventually get help for it. Like, I am fortunate in that way. I know a lot of people have it much worse than I do and can't always feel that way. But what I need is for the people in my life to be accepting of this being a part of who I am, so I don't have to feel like I have to put up a front all the time, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting to fake being happy all of the time. And it doesn't mean I'm not legitimately happy sometimes. It's just I don't feel like it's okay for me to be sad on the outside or for me to be distant on the outside. And so I need that to be a part of who I am that people accept about me. And if you are someone who knows someone who struggles with depression or with mental illness, and you know someone who's going through a lot of crap, like, I think the best thing you can do is find out what that person needs. Because while it is good to know what the signs are and know what some common, like, tactics are that can help people, you have to know that each person is an individual case. Like, how my depression works and how I respond and what I need is going to be completely different from someone else's depression story. And if you want to help someone, you need to know how to help them for what they need, because as someone who feels like a burden all the time, I can't have someone coming in trying to fix my life, because it makes me feel worse. But that might be exactly what someone else needs in the sense of support. You know what I mean? So if you really want to help someone, reach out to them and let them know that you are open and willing to hear what they need, because sometimes that's what people need. And again, the lighting is changing, and this is not the business right now. I have to change the lighting again. Give me a moment. Nope. Well, the sun is happy. I had to close my blinds completely because there's just like a chunk of sun coming through the sun, or the clouds right there. That doesn't even look that bad. I should have just done that from the beginning. I'm not going to refilm this. I don't even remember half of what I said. I feel like I blacked out for 20 minutes. But yeah, I think I'm working through what I'm going through right now. And it's gonna be a journey. Like, it never really clicked how deeply, like, this is something that's ingrained in my life, and like how deeply it's like kind of burrowed, which means it's going to take a really long time for me to come out of that. And it didn't really occur to me until recently how deeply this has sunk in to my life and a part of who I am. Yeah, I'm working really hard to function as a person. And if anyone else is going through the same stuff, like, I am really sorry that you're going through it. And I hope I hope you have people in your life that you can reach out to about it, because I do. And I am also at a point where I feel comfortable enough to open up about it to people, because I think it's still too much of a stigma. I think more and more people are speaking out about it, but there's still too much of a stigma around it. So I just don't want anyone to feel ashamed that this is who they are at this point in their life, you know? Because I do all the time. I feel like a failure all of the time. And it's really sad how easy it is to fake that, because so many people don't know that about me. They think I'm happy, and they think I'm successful, and they think I just have everything. And a lot of the times, you know, I do. I'm very fortunate in my life, but that doesn't mean I don't have this mental illness that has completely ruined who I am and who I thought I would be as a person. But I'm coping with it. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up for right now. I know I'm going to be doing like a series on depression. I want to talk about it a little more objectively as a thing in a future video, when I'm a little more organized and a little less overwhelmed with how I'm feeling right now. Because objectively, I also want to help people who do need resources, and I feel like that's a separate video I can do where I'm a little more researched and stuff like that, because I think right now this is just me talking through a lot of the stuff that I'm coping with. Yeah, thanks. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the support I've been getting. I know not as many people watch me on here as follow me like on Instagram and stuff like that, but I still get so much support and outreach when I open up about stuff like this. So I hope this kind of helps people understand a little bit more about me and who I am as a person. And if you're struggling, I really hope that you just keep holding on and working through it. And until my next video, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.